All your favorite gurus keep telling you about Bodygame, how amazing Bodygame is, how amazing your life is going to be once you figure out Bodygame. And they're not wrong. Bodygame is an amazing tool if you know how to work it right. The problem is they keep telling you about one half of Bodygame and keep ignoring the other half. They keep telling you about the, in my opinion, less important half of Bodygame, when there's a more important half of Bodygame that needs to be discussed. And the way you know the more important half of Bodygame is to first understand that the word Bodygame is confusing you. You see this word right here, Bodygame? It's a cool word. I know it's nice and it's trendy and all that good stuff, but it's distracting you from what this really is, what this refers to. What this is, what it really should be called, if we're being honest, we should call it this. Sex appeal. When you look at it like that, all of a sudden it becomes very clear to you how you've been deceived about what Bodygame is, because there's only one aspect that's ever talked about, the aesthetics part of it. Hit the gym, work hard, get big muscles, big arms, broad shoulders, a six-pack. All that is good. All that is well, right? No one says don't work on your aesthetic. Work on your aesthetic. It works wonders. However, your aesthetics is only the lesser half of sex appeal. The more important half of sex appeal is not just the way you look, but how you use the way you look to communicate, aka body language. That by far right there is the most important half of what we refer to as Bodygame. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I famously gone out of my way to not say much about body language for the, I want to say 3.5 years now I've been doing this. Everyone will from time to time ask me questions about body language, and I'll go out of my way to not talk too much about it for a good reason. The reason is very simple. I'll tell you what it is right now. It's the fact that I've always believed, and I still do, that body language is a byproduct of good mindset, of correct, powerful self-belief, right? Once you work on self-belief, the body language will happen naturally. With that said, though, I realize with the popularity of Bodygame, and again, just the way it's being misunderstood by a lot of people, I have to come in and correct this. I have to step in and make sense of all this. So let's, for the first time, and I know my OG followers are going to be very happy about this video, for the first time ever, let's really go deep into body language, right? The way you communicate with the way you move, with the way you look, etc., right? Body language. Body language. Body language is essentially the most popular kind of language on the planet. Body language is by far the most popular, most widely recognizable, universal language of the people and inhabitants of this planet, aka human beings. And honestly, it transcends human interaction if you really think about it. We can also read to some degree the body language of other species, other animals. So body language is a very fundamental part of how we communicate as organisms in any given environment, right? It might differ some certain aspects and elements to it from culture to culture, country to country, but for the most part, body language is primal. Body language is something that is received and given on an instinctual level, and we instinctually interpret and understand it, right? So let's really get into how body language works, and more specifically, how you can use body language yourself, like the way you can actually use body language to improve your game and your relationship with women. All right, let's go. The only things you really need to know about body language is that there are 3 major principles to body language, just 3. If you can keep these 3 in mind, then you pretty much understand all of body language, right? The first thing you have to understand about body language is your actual, let's call it posture or physical positioning. There we go. Your posture and physical positioning, right? And that is the particular position you happen to be in when you're using your body to communicate. And as far as especially talking with women is concerned, there's only 4 major ones. That is your posture positioning when you're standing, sitting, walking, and talking. Standing, sitting, walking, and talking. These are your four major, most important postures that you have to look out for while you're using your body language. And these four are picked out in particular because these are the ones you're going to be in more than likely anytime that you're talking to a woman, right? These are the ones that she's going to be hyper focusing on a subconscious level. Of course, she's not necessarily going out of her way to consciously grade or observe your body language, right? But these are the four instances that she's going to have. These are the four examples she's going to be using in her mind to gauge your level of confidence and what you're all about, right? So those are the four right there. Standing is pretty much how you're presenting yourself in front of her, what it is you're doing with your body while you're upright. Sitting is like the position I'm in right now, when you got your ass on the seat, right? Walking is the way you move from one place to another. That's really what walking is. That's what it comes down to. And talking comes down to your ability to use the way that you use words to communicate with her and match it up with the body language that you're using while you communicate. Kind of like what I'm doing right now, right? And understanding each one will require us to understand the second principle. So we have to talk about the second principle before we go into each aspect. What is that second principle? It's the principle of body dynamics. Body dynamics, or energy, aka the level of energy you have when you're using your body to communicate, because there's only two. The first one is going to be relaxation. The second one is going to be passion. Whenever you're communicating with your body, there's only two levels of energy you can have. Now, there's actually more than two if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of it. But as far as you're concerned, for the sake of keeping things very simple, right? There's only two you need to understand. There's only two different levels of energy you can have when you're using your body to communicate. You can either be doing it in a relaxed kind of position, in a relaxed way, right? Calm, slow, melted into the seat if you're, for instance, sitting down, or passionate, that's hyper, energetic, right? Super dynamic with how you're moving. So there's either relaxed body language or passionate body language, right? Again, these are the postures. That's the first principle you have to understand. These are the postures and positions. These are the physical ways you can be in when you're demonstrating body language. And then these are the two energies you can have. Principle two, the two energies you can have while you're using any of these postures. Now that you understand these two things, let's bring it all together. That's principle number three. Principle number three is the most important principle because it brings everything together, and it states very simply, I'll put number three over here, that principle number one and principle number two are dependent on each other and also have a lot to do with the particular situation you're in. So context is principle number three. If that confuses you, don't worry. I'll explain everything. It'll come together in your mind at the same time like a beautiful epiphany. Watch this. So there's standing, there's sitting, there's walking, there's talking. You can be relaxed while standing. You can be relaxed while sitting, while walking, while talking. You can be passionate while standing, while sitting, while walking, or talking, right? That makes sense so far. You can do any of these positions in any of these two energies. The key to body language, and this is why it really does come down to mindset primarily, is depending on the position you're in, it'll require a different kind of energy. You cannot use the same position for the same kind of energy all the way through. You can't be that lazy with it. There's a bit of a formula to how this works, and I'll teach you what it is. It's context. Context is what you have to be looking out for. And the context is a very simple one. When you're talking about something passionate, then you use passion. When you're talking about something you don't care about, something you're not as invested in, uninvested, then you stay relaxed. I'm gonna say it again. If you are talking about something that you actually give a fuck about, while in any of these positions, standing, sitting, walking, or regular talking, then you're going to be passionate while you talk. You're going to be passionate. The body language that follows you while you speak about that thing, it better be passionate. If you're going to be talking about something that you shouldn't care about, realistically you shouldn't give a fuck about, then you remain as detached as possible. You stay relaxed. You stay calm. You stay distant, right? Okay, here's the beauty about what I just said. That happens naturally. That's not something you have to work at. That's not something you have to remember to do. Naturally, as you are right now, when you are talking about something you care about, you become passionate. You come alive. Your body language is all over the place. You become dynamic in your movement. When you're talking about something you don't care as much about, all of a sudden you become detached. You become kind of distant. You're relaxed. You're calm, right? If you're talking about something that you genuinely don't care about, there's no passion in it. And again, this is something that your brain, your mind, right, naturally does. You don't have to practice this. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to be conscious of this. This is something you're naturally predisposed to doing. So the entire point of understanding all this, body language as a whole, as a concept, is understanding what you decide is passionate or relaxed, or what you decide to be passionate about or be relaxed about, aka what you decide to be either not invested in, right, or very invested in. That's all it is. That is a secret of body language right there. What should I be speaking about passionately, and what should I be speaking about in a relaxed manner? See, let's talk about girls. Let's bring it directly to talking about girls. When you're talking to a woman for the first time, where most men fuck up is applying passion too soon. And that's why their body language looks the way it does. Why do people get fidgety and nervous and shaky and weird when they're talking to a girl for the first time, especially a girl that they find very attractive? Why does that happen? Very simple, because there's passion there. There's energy going towards her from their mind. There's a level of investment that they have in this girl that they just met, and that's the problem. So the problem isn't how they're moving. Yes, it's how they're moving, obviously, but it doesn't stem from there. The problem is how they're thinking about the interaction they're having, and that's affecting how they're moving. They're getting so invested in the idea and the concept of finally getting this girl to like them, take them home, or take the girl home, or make the girl kiss them, get naked with them. They're so distracted. They're so what's the word I'm looking for? Their entire mind is completely baptized in that thinking of, oh man, this is such an amazing, valuable experience I'm having with this girl. Like, I can't wait to see where it goes. That they become unnecessarily invested in the girl too quickly, and as a result, unnecessarily passionate, and then they begin to move passionately towards a girl again that they just met, that they really shouldn't be passionate about quite yet. And that right there is where the issue with body language exists. So let's now talk about this as correctly as we can. Let's summarize everything. First, posture and positioning are important. That's where it all starts from. Whether you're standing, whether you're sitting, whether you're walking, or whether you're talking, right? You can either be relaxed or passionate. That's number two. Figuring out which one you should be comes down to number three, context. Again, for the simple example I gave in this video, when you're talking to the girl and when you should be invested in the girl, be passionate. When you're just talking to the girl for the first time and shouldn't be invested in the girl quite yet, don't be passionate. be relaxed, be calm. So ultimately, the skill of getting better at body language, the skill of getting better at talking to women correctly with your body, is learning how to be relaxed until it's time to be passionate. It's the timing that's fucking a lot of guys up. That's really all body language is about. So, okay, now we've covered that. Let's go into the nitty gritty: the standing, the sitting, the walking, the talking. It's very simple. When you're standing, there's relaxed and there's passionate standing, right? RP, how ironic. There's relaxed and there's passionate standing. How do you define the two? What does it look like to stand on a relaxed way or stand in a passionate way? Very simple. My definition is going to be relaxation is using as little or activating as little muscles as possible with any position you're in. That's the definition right there. So if you're standing and you don't have to activate as many muscles within your body to keep you upright, then you're relaxed. If you're activating as many as possible to stay in a particular firm position while you're upright, while you're standing, then you're being passionate. Then you're being rigid in a way. And again, both have their uses, but understand the difference. If you have, for instance, a lean, not a slouch per se, but a forward, nonchalant type of bend in your body, that's more of a relaxed way of standing. If you're trying your best to be upright and have your chest sticking out and your head facing forward and your shoulders broad, that's you showing that you give a fuck about how you're presenting yourself, right? Okay. If you're sitting and then all of a sudden you're being melted into the chair and you're spread out, right? Especially with sitting, relaxation with sitting is just being spread out. That's really what it comes down to. Being spread out and being leaned into the chair, like feeling like you're melting into the chair, that's relaxed, right? If you're uptight, you're upright, and you have your feet firmly planted into the ground while you're sitting, that's more passionate and very similar to what I'm doing right now. I'm on a couch. I could be leaned back, really chill, really relaxed like this, but I'm choosing to be upright. Why, by the way, why am I doing that? Why am I choosing to be upright while I'm speaking right now? It's actually very simple, because I'm talking about something that I'm passionate about. See, exactly what I talked about before. When you care about something, it shows in how you speak about it. And by the way, especially for the situation I'm in right now, which is I'm teaching you something, I better be passionate about what I'm talking about. Imagine I would just lean back, talking like this, slouched over. You wouldn't believe what I'm saying. And you need to believe that I believe what I'm saying to believe it, which is why I'm passionate about it. Which is why you look at the passion I have talking about this and go, well, if he believes it, then it must have some merit. I'm going to have the courage to put some action behind what he's saying to see if it works for me. You see how that works? So in this context, it makes no sense for me to be relaxed. It makes sense for me to be passionate. See? Now, that's as an example. Walking relaxed is really walking without a care or paying attention to where it is you're going. And this is one of those few situations where it's almost always bad to be relaxed when doing this right here. Bad. Never walk in a relaxed manner. Always be walking as if you have somewhere to be. Again, the principles to walking are very similar to the principles of sitting, which is be spread out, be upright, be vigilant, and be straight, right? So you want to walk all the time the way you would sit if you were passionately sitting. That's really what it comes down to. And then talking, all talking is, which by the way, if you really think about it, is kind of redundant to mention talking. It's really sitting, walking, and standing, but I separate talking as a different one anyway, because the majority of the time, no matter what position you're in, you're going to be doing this when you're dealing with a woman, right? You're going to be talking, right? Words and how you communicate with women. When you're talking, again, follow the rules. Make sure that when you're talking about something that you actually genuinely care about, you're being passionate, and that will show in your tonality. If you're talking like this and you're not that dynamic when you're speaking, and there's not a musical intonation to how you're talking, and your tonality is really monotone, that in itself shows a lack of interest. But if you're speaking like you actually care about each word that comes out of your mouth, then you're being more passionate, right? So for the most part, you want to be always passionate here as well. Walking and talking, always passionate. Sitting and standing, you can alternate between passionate or relaxed. All right, that's really what it comes down to. Let me try to draw it out in a more organized way for you so you understand how this works. Sitting, standing, walking, talking. You must always do these two with passion. Always. These two, you can either be relaxed or passionate. Here's the thing though. One last thing before we close this one out. You want to kind of make sure you're doing one of these two in the opposite of the other, of talking especially, right? So talking is the let's call it the adhesive between all of them, right? Talking can go into any of the other ones. That's why it's the most versatile. However, it's a good idea generally just to keep her unconscious mind occupied, to be sitting or standing in a relaxed way while you speak passionately. If you're giving more passion with both your talking and your sitting, or talking and you're standing, I'm not saying those things are bad. They're actually really good depending on the context of the relationship. But especially in the beginning, don't give your passion in more than one area at the same time. So either you're standing in a upright fashion where your body's completely face to her and you're talking in a relaxed way, or your standing is body turned away from her, leaned up against something, slouching over, but not in a way that makes you look lazy, and your talking is passionate. That's a very small, tiny little trick that you should be using to your advantage, just to keep things interesting and to keep her subconscious mind occupied, right? This is all you need to be knowing about body language for now. We're going to go into body language even deeper on a different video. We're going to make this a series. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to body language, a lot to talk about. But as you can see from everything I've described so far, it really does come to the way you interpret how you should be going about communicating. If you get too invested in what you're communicating or who you're communicating with, it'll affect the way your body language looks. If you get a little too aloof or nonchalant about it, then that'll also affect that the outcomes you get and the way the other person you're communicating with feels. All right, keep that in mind. Go out there, practice everything I've told you just now. It's fun. It really is fun to experiment with these things, and get out there, really figure these things out. Now, I talk a lot about body language and how body language looks like, especially during sex, in my brand new course called Hypnotica, Erotica. If you want to check that out, you can go to the link in the description, link in the bio, and begin to understand the nuance of body language within the context of sex. If that's interesting, or that's something that you might be interested in, right? There's a lot of cool, amazing secrets there. You might want to go down to the link in the bio, click on that. The sooner the better. The price will go up soon. I have to kind of take it up because of the kind of secrets in there. If too many people know about it, they don't become as effective anymore. So the sooner the better. Go down there, click the link in the bio, and I'll see you inside. In the meantime though, you can just come over here and watch one of these right here, especially if this is your first time running into me, you don't know me like that. That's cool. I'm Jace, your favorite scientist, and I got a few more videos for you to check out. Actually, check out this one in particular, right? This one right here, I put my fucking Bodygame into it. So trust me, this is the one you want to check out. It's been Jace's favorite scientist. Do with all this information what you must.